back a naturopath. Thanks for coming back. Now, many times in my clinical years, the question I would often get asked was this one: when can I go back on my normal diet after I finish the Candida cleanse? So that to me is like someone being let out of jail saying, when can I go back on my normal offending? Now that I've been released from jail, I don't need to be in here anymore. I'm out of jail now. I want to go back and offend in public again. So if that's the attitude, you're always going to have a Candida problem. You're always going to have a gut problem, right? When you've spent time inside, not that I have, but if you've spent time inside, it's meant to rehabilitate you, make you think differently about your actions. So when you are finally released to the public, that you're not going to be a person who needs to be thrown back in the slammer again, all right? If we did the same thing with dietary people, okay, I think the prisons would be so full of people, there'd be more people in jail than actually outside of jail, okay? So we can't do that with people eating food. But the point I'm trying to make here is you can't go back to the ways you were when you had that problem, unless you're one of those very extremely rare people that had the most exemplary, amazingly perfect diet, the best diet in the world, but still got really sick. And I have seen people similar to that. Now, I won't mention their nationalities, but there's a couple of nationalities I know of people. They're not American, by the way, or Canadian, or Australian, or New Zealand. They're European, a particular country, two countries in particular, where I've seen some of the most sickest people with the healthiest diets, where they got so anxious about what they were eating that it actually created a disease in its own right, all right? They were so anal and focused about their food. So don't be like that either, right? Life is not just about what you eat. It's also about what you emotionally digest, all right? There's a lot more to it than just chewing, and pooing. I think you get my point. What was the question again? When can I back on my normal diet? Well, what defines a normal diet for you? Is it a bag of chips and a can of Coke for lunch? If that's a normal diet, then, well, you're not going to have a good life, really, if you're going to go back to that kind of food. So the whole idea about a Candida cleanse is to take a good, long, hard look at your lifestyle and your diet, and to make those changes that are required to get you back on track, okay? A normal diet, in my opinion, for I'm sitting for you, it would be a basic diet. Like, I eat vegetables, fruits, and lean meats, and some, maybe seeds and nuts and grains. That, to me, is a normal, healthy diet. But every time I go to Los Angeles and I sit down there and have some lunch or dinner, what constitutes a normal diet for me compared to the average person in LA is like, it's like being on the moon. So you may have to rethink your normal diet, all right? Rethink it. Because if you were brought up like some of my clients, in the States and in England, that have been brought up just with pizzas, 7 days a week. I know some families like that. It's going to be very hard for you to actually start eating things called vegetables. It's not going to be easy. One of my clients, a male in his late 20s, said to me, he's never eaten vegetables all his life. They make him spew. He can't eat any veggies or fruits. He just eats frozen stuff and canned stuff. Very, very unwell man, unfortunately. But that's how some people are brought up, okay? And other clients I've had have been brought up entirely differently, where the family cooked constantly at home. Everything was freshly prepared. Different lifestyle, okay? So you need to look at your culture, at your lifestyle, at everything that you do, and see what's a good fit for you. What are the best foods for me under my circumstances? Now, I always encourage people to eat their best, but your best at sometimes may not be as best as it could be, but at least you tried, all right? So that's the basis of the basic healthy diet. If you really want to go back to what you were doing, remember the offending part I spoke about. You can't keep offending, and then expect to be released to the public. And in your case, released yourself, because you're going to end up really sick. By the time you get to my age, you'll be in very poor health if you don't make those changes. So, yeah, it's really up to you. It depends what you want out of life. It depends. It really depends. Some people expect the best, and some people are just happy to be symptom-free. But I do encourage you to check out my other videos regarding eating, particularly the playlist. I think the diet playlist is quite extensive, where I answer many questions about eating and drinking. So there you have it. Thanks for tuning in.